and welcome to another YouTube video where I am going to be sharing 5 lessons that I've learned in my 10 years of being a designer. Let's go back to when I was a little kid. Just kidding. This is not going to be that type of video. We're not going there. But I do have to say that young Irlanda would be really proud of where she is today. Okay, I'm not gonna go back to my childhood. I have now been a designer for officially 10 years. I went to university for industrial design, or back in the day it was also known as product design, but nowadays it has a different meaning with, UX and UI and all of that. I used to love to design products like furniture or shoes or any type of product really, and I love that. I don't do that anymore, but I have really fond memories. And the reason why I'm starting with this is because I was really called to the craft of being a designer. I felt really like I was coming to life every time I interacted with materials. I remember we had this amazing wood workshop and metal workshop, and we also had a ceramics class, and I just felt alive when I was creating things. And I feel like a lot of creatives get that kind of feeling as well. So let's dive right in. Okay, so lesson number 1 that I want to share with you is action is king. If what I mentioned previously, the whole interacting with materials, feeling alive, kind of resonated with you, you're not alone. I think a lot of creatives, we tend to feel that way. But the first thing I learned was that as much as you want to create things, you got to learn the theory first. So we did learn a ton about design fundamentals, design methodologies. There's a ton of them. There is a book that I do want to recommend, Principles of Form and Design by the author Wishes Wong. This is the book that really stuck with me. This is where I learned the fundamentals of design, which now I apply to everything on a daily basis. Another thing that really stuck with me when it comes to action is there's literally no amount of planning, envisioning, and preparing for things. No amount of that will ever replace taking action. So my advice to you is start creating things with what you know. Start making, start experimenting, and really that is the only way to start learning. Okay, now let's talk about lesson number 2. This is a painful one. Painful. The soul-crushing gap. The gap. We all go through it. As creatives, it's kind of inevitable. What is the gap? There will come a point in your creative journey where your skill set does not match your taste. Let me explain. As creatives, our vision is really what sets us apart. We have an idea of how we want things to be or how we want things to look like. We have a very specific taste, which really drives us toward a certain creative direction. And when we're executing that, meaning when we're creating things and they don't match that vision that we have in our heads, it really feels so discouraging. It can be heartbreaking, and to be honest with you, a lot of people give up their creative practice entirely just because they cannot get past this. The thing that I would love for you to take out of this is that you're not alone if you're going through that, and it's more common than you would think, and the only way to get through it is, again, action. Make things. If you have an idea, sketch it out. You keep practicing. That's really the only way to get through it. And my last advice for this step is remember that done is better than perfect. So just aim for progress versus aiming for perfection. You got this, and I believe in you. Lesson number 3 is kill your ego. Okay, we gotta get rid of our ego. period. I think that it's important for you to know as a creative or as a designer that design clients, design professors, they are going to destroy your work. I remember pulling all-nighters for school projects, for my first client projects, and thinking that it was really my best work and that I had put so much in it that I was really, the best designer. And then only to find out the next day that I had made some crucial mistakes or that I had missed really important parts that were really relevant to the project's success. And this is really common. And then when people start giving you their feedback, whether it's a client or a professor, that feedback can really hurt. And as creatives, we put so much of ourselves into the work that we do that the feedbacks can sometimes feel like they are attacking us as a person. So a way that I would recommend to go about this is to create a healthy sense of separation between who you are as a creative and what your work is. So that way you're able to see your work in a more objective light, and you're able to see those aspects and feedback that people are pointing out, and you don't take it personally, and that way it's not tied to an ego. It's a really good way to practice being humble about your work and recognizing that there's always room to improve and there's always room for growth as well. And I think this is really important because I have met many talented people who, yeah, they're very talented, but also they've got really big egos, and ego won't listen to feedback, ego won't help you improve, and ego is just really not our friend. Our ego has got to go. Yeah, leave ego in the past. If you go by life thinking you are the best designer out there, you're really doing a disservice to your community and to yourself, because there's always room to improve and you can always be learning new things and get better. This lesson, the sooner you can learn it in your creative journey, the better. And there is a book that I discovered recently that has helped me a ton with this, and it's called Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. I absolutely encourage you to read it. It helps a lot with creative work, with just doing the work, putting in the hours, and yeah, just kind of separating from recognition or outside success and really making it about your craft and getting better at it day by day. Okay, lesson number 4. Design one thing, design anything. And this is my personal take. Obviously, it's my unique point of view, and take what works for you and leave the rest, or take it with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, if you can master the fundamentals of design and you learn how to apply those, you can design almost anything. I mean, think about it. The same principles that I was mentioning in the beginning, really the fundamentals of design, like contrast, balance, rhythm, composition, all of those can be applied to most disciplines. Think about it. Photography, interior design, graphic design, advertising, they kind of utilize the same principles. So I just really want to encourage you to learn the fundamentals, kind of like learn the rules only to break them. That's the type of philosophy that I use, and that I think it's a really fun way to see the world. Once you understand the fundamentals of design, you can start applying that to the space that you exist in and even the way that you dress. You start seeing life in terms of compositions and in colors and contrast, and that's a really fun way to live, in my opinion. So yeah, I hope that if you are learning about one specific craft, you can be open to applying that to other disciplines, and that's where the fun really starts. The last lesson that I want to share with you, and that is lesson number 5. I really just want to make art. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being a designer. I take so much pride in my career as a designer and all the amazing opportunities that it has given me. Honestly, it's such a beautiful discipline. It's such a great career. I love getting to do creative work on a daily basis, and it's really fulfilling. But I have to admit that it has taken me so long to really be honest and admit that I just want to create art. I want to go back to the basics and interact with the materials. I want to be in that maker space again, and I just feel so called to the canvas and painting and even going back to ceramics. I think that sometimes you really have to go all in one craft, even as long as 10 years, only to find out that you want to do something different now. And I say this with so much gratitude to my design practice and also with excitement of what may come from the art that I'm creating. So yeah, don't let this discourage you. Being a creative is so much fun, and it will also lead you to new and different disciplines, and you never know where you'll end up, and it may be somewhere that you would have never dreamed of, and sometimes that's the exact place where you are meant to be. Okay, so that was my 10-year reflection. If you are on your own creative journey, I hope this resonated with you, and don't forget to keep creating, keep learning, and overall enjoy the process. All right, until next time.